Welcome to the Mentality Podcast, episode 19. This is a special one, because we have Channel 4's SAS Who Dares Wins winner, Mark Peart, coming to sit down with us and chat. We dive deep into Mark's mindset for going through such a gruelling challenge. We also talk about the tragic loss of his wife to suicide April last year, just before he went on the show, and how his friend put him through his pace to get on the show and give him something to strive for in that tough time, and how movingly he speaks about the situation he was in and how he got himself through it is quite unbelievable. He talks about the ins and outs of SAS Who Dares Wins programme, and talks about the connections he made in it, and he gives everyone listening and us some advice for going through bereavement, but also how to navigate tricky times, tough times. And I thought it was one of the best chats we've had, and it was incredibly moving. I'm so honoured to have met Mark and shared a good chat with him like that. And I think that we'll do much more stuff in the future and hopefully link up a lot more. Staying on the same wavelength as making connections with special people, I want to just talk about two brands that have sponsored us and supported us in the past with the Mentality Podcast and generally with Mentality. MSC Nutrition supporting us for this podcast, and we really are eternally grateful for it. MSC have got such a good viewpoint on what mental health is, how important it is for their customers, but elite athletes. Everything that is needed for those people comes first before their supplements. So a really holistic brand that support us at Leeds Rhinos, support me individually with my recovery of my knee injury, and they support all the boys. So I just want to give a big shout out to MSC for that continued support, staying on the wavelength for good people. Still, Kevin Walton at UK Red Security, who are the go-to for me. Both these brands I've used individually. UK Red Security are good for camera systems, for security systems, alarms, not just residential properties, but also big commercial properties. They work all over Europe and are continuing to broaden their horizons. So big respect to UK Red Security and MSC Nutrition. Just one more thing for you before I stop rambling on and we jump into this chat. I'm doing a little bit of work with Pure Sport CBD. CBD oil is on the rise for athletes at the minute because it's taking away pains and it's an anti-inflammatory and it's good for anxiety and depression. So I'm trying it out. I'm having a look at what it can do for you. And if you want to try it out, check out puresportcbd.co.uk. I have got a 10% discount code which you can use. If you're checking out, then just put in the code Ward Recovery, all lowercase and all one word. And I think we can jump into this chat. Mark's an inspirational guy, a top fella. Enjoy. Welcome to the Mentality Podcast. We are set up at Wheatwood Hall Hotel for the first ever studio kind of podcast. We've got Mark Peart. Is that right, Mark Peart? Peart. We've got Mark Peart on the podcast. I think he's a little bit nervous, more nervous in the SAS Who Dares Wins interrogation phase, but we're not going to interrogate him too much. We've got Chris O'Connor here as well too. It's exciting, bit of progression for Mentality and an amazing guest as well. So welcome to the podcast, Mark.
Yeah, thanks for having me, mate.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. I think everyone's kind of knows you've just come out fresh from completing as we've seen on television.
Yeah. From it was October, wasn't it, I think?
October that it was actually held.
Yeah, it was middle of October.
Yeah, completing the SAS Who Dares Wins television series.
And won it. Spoiler alert.
And won it, yeah, alongside Louise
and Milo.
Yeah. So how does that feel, mate?
Yeah, it's quite overwhelming. Still, I don't want to say it's fully sunk in. It's good. It's positive. So
yeah,
I'm enjoying it.
How tough did you find it being in the grips of the SAS Who Dares Wins television?
It's really tough, man. It's so much tougher than it comes across on TV as well.
Had you seen the show before? The other series?
Strangely, no.
Really?
I'd actually watched it before I went, I kind of binge watched like 3 seasons.
Yeah.
I kind of knew what it were about, but I never really watched it. And then I actually came about applying for it.
Yeah,
It was through a friend. He just pretty much came up to me and just said, "Oh, like I think you'll be good at this. Should have a blast at it."
And you're a firefighter at
Yeah.
day to day, and
and like I said, my intentions are actually doing it were like for a distraction just from what were going off in my life at the time. And even when I started applying, I had no intentions of ever going offshore, like ever. Like even to the point where they phoned me and said I was successful. I got through to the last 25, and even then I was like thinking, I hung up phone. And I thought, well, I'm not going to be going. Like, I mean, that weren't the intentions of me actually applying. It was just something to channel some energy into and just to something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Then it was the same friend again. Like I say, I owe a lot to him. He when I told him that I wasn't actually going to go, he just he said, "Look, you've got to go. It's like you'll never get an opportunity like this again." So then just went along with it. But yeah, it was a bizarre experience. It was well out of my comfort zone. Like not the physical side of it, like more the filming and. But you quickly adapt to it like so fast. Like literally within the first hour, you just forget cameras are there, and it's just getting your head down and you're just cracking on.
Well, on the physical side, briefly, because one thing, were you training when you were you training as if you were going to go on it? Because you weren't sure whether you get on it or not, but you were thinking, I need to be in peak physical fitness, or are you always kind of in peak?
I kind of always did like a bit more like functional kind of fitness. And a lot of running. So I just kind of incorporated doing weighted runs more. I didn't really change or adapt anything that like my training style. I just started doing more like weighted runs. So
hills and stuff as well?
Yeah, so hills and just like carrying a burger and with weight in it.
Which is it looks like from the side, a large part of it is you're running
massive,
uphill with heavy weight.
Yeah,
so
it's massive. And it's massive what that actually does to you. It's like when, you know what I mean, there were people there that were, you know, extremely good runners. And then as soon as you're putting weight on them, it's like, it's bizarre to see it, like what it does to people. Like adding that weight on, it's incredible. And that's why you've got to take your hats off to the women that were in there, because like, an example would be Esme. Like she was 51 kilograms and we were carrying 23, 24 kilograms on his back.
So everyone had the same weight?
Yeah, everyone had, nobody would tread any different.
Wow.
And that's where I sit there and I think, like that one nearly above, like nearly a half her body weight. And I think if I'd have had the same, if it were half my body weight, would I have got up all the mills? And I think maybe I wouldn't have. I mean, so it shows you how strong they were. They were unbelievable.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? And because a lot of people have kind of said that it'd be different. And I know Ant Mill, and I think in the trailer for it and the opening of it was saying that it was going to be exactly the same. Do you feel like that was the theme running through it for both females and males? Yeah,
100%. Yeah. They didn't adapt anything for females at all. Nothing at all. Like, if anything, they probably had a bit more pressure put on them. You know, the fact that they were the first time that women had been allowed on the programme, that they kind of I'd say that they maybe had a bit more pressure on them to see how they actually responded to it.
It's a great thing for society, the amount of conversations going on at the moment about, you know, issues to do with gender. And then this show was just completely, we don't care who you are, what you are. All we care about is whether you can do it. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And they completely treated everyone equally.
Yeah, and Ant Middleton, honestly, like, and I think it's just society that we live in. It's like, you know, the way that he did just treat everyone exactly the same. You did feel a bit like, oh God, can I actually say that? Can he get away with them things? What he's saying to the women, but yeah, hats off to him. He generally just did it exactly for him. It's personal. You know what I mean? It's the process. It is a course for him. Yeah, you know what I mean. He don't look at it like a TV show at all. For him, he's running a course, and the TV side is a separate part. And he keeps that attitude all the way through. He don't break character. He's
okay, cool. Not when the camera's off. It's like, right, that's a wrap.
That's the thing, is there's no, like, people have asked me before, like, oh, but you must have got like downtime where they're like, that's it. And you're like, no, like literally, it never stops. Like
throughout, yeah.
It's like from the minute you walk through, you literally stripped her everything. So like your clothes are took from you, your name, you're given a number. So like everything is stripped from you. It don't matter where you've come from. Ask, you know, whether you've played sport at an high level or not, what job you've got, everything's stripped, and you're just a number, and they don't care about anything. Like, I mean, they won't sit back and think, oh, well, they're semi-pro this, or they're professional this, or they've been in Team GB for that. Like, it don't matter to them.
It's really interesting. I'm wondering what the feeling is going into something like that, and I guess the cameras do add something, a bit of a different dynamic. But what can you remember the feelings before it, like doing the travelling over there and kind of before you walk through those gates? Can you remember the feelings that you were going through?
Well, we all met at Heathrow,
right,
and we were supposed to like keep talking to a minimum. But
everyone's going,
yeah,
shit me saying, I'm shitting myself. What's going to happen?
It will kind of you had that, like I would definitely shit myself, but the people like stuck the chest out of it. So like amount of people that came up to me and they were telling me everything that they'd done. So they're like, oh, like I'm ex-professional this, or I'm about to turn professional in this and that and other. And I'll be like sat there thinking, well, I'm just like, I just do a bit of running and I'm from Rotherham and like and everyone's like, what do you do? And I'm like, not a lot, just do a bit of training and a bit of running. And I can remember like getting on flight and I was just like thinking, what am I doing? What have I got myself into here? Like I'm well out of my, depth here. And the first 2 days for me were probably like two of the hardest whilst I was there.
Wow.
Just like mentally, it was just so, I was just so anxious, constantly sat there like doubting, I had so much self-doubt whether I'd actually deserved to be there, whether I could compete with everyone. And it just got to a point where like, I can remember being laid in bed and just thinking, right, this has to stop, because when you did get 2 hours to sleep, you needed to sleep. But then my brain would be going 100 mile an hour, like.
I can imagine, yeah. So almost like the bits where you're not doing the physical activity stuff were even more challenging.
Yeah,
like,
for me.
Because you got all this pent up energy and these,
For me, the hardest moments were when you had nothing to do. Yeah. Which there weren't many times, but.
Because you're waiting for it.
You're so anxious. There's no structure to your day at all. Like, you could be getting a beast in at 3 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. It doesn't make any difference at all. And so, like, when people think, oh, it must have got to 12 o'clock and then your day were done, you're like, no, it's like, your day might have just been starting at 12. We had no idea. So the anxieties were just unreal. Like, you'd be laid there thinking, someone's going to burst through the door any minute, and then someone could walk in from toilet, and you just see everyone's head turn, and everyone like,
has he gone for a shit? Or it's DS. Yeah.
And they honestly, they're so clever with it, because they do stuff like, it could be 2 in the morning, and you'd always have a wet and a dry kit, and they'd be like, right, everyone outside 5 minutes, wet kit. You get outside, then they'd be like, right, go back in. Yeah. That's it. And you'd be like, then next minute they'd walk in and just go, relax, and they'd just be like, right, they just ask for someone just to chat to them for 2 minutes, and we'd all like, fucking hell.
It's like a horror film, isn't it? When you don't know if the jump's coming.
It's going to end.
They're waiting for that jump bit.
And it's all intentional.
That's what I mean. It's so clever what they do. Like, the mental strain that they put on you is like unreal.
Did you suspect a spy? Because they've done it in a previous series before, I think, but they had a spy on this one, and I always wonder, are people kind of like suspicious of everyone? Or
so like, she was like implanted once. She was Swedish,
I think. Special forces, like the first ever.
Petra, she was so nice.
She seemed like
nice woman, and she was
a hero.
Yeah, she was hard as nails.
Yeah. When she were doing the tasks, did you think, wow? Did you get that impression?
We had like, you're just so consumed in your own little bubble. Like your concern is making sure your feet are taped up, that your kit's ready to go. Like, so you don't really like. Looking back afterwards, you think, God, it's like obvious. Like, why didn't we see it? But you just don't. And she had a really good cover story. But yeah, like the first time we went up one at mountains, we had her snowshoes on, and she was like showing everyone how to use the snowshoes. And I'm like, Petra, how do you know how to do this? And she's like, oh, when I was 5 in Sweden, my father showed me. And then
like tying laces.
Yeah. And we're making this snow cave, and she's flying around. Honestly, she was like a wizard. She knew everything. Yeah. I'm like, Petra, how do you know this? She's like, oh, when I was 5 in Sweden, my father showed me. Yeah. I was like, well, she's Swedish. She's weird, isn't she? She's like,
a bit different. So she was just doing that because she didn't want to go back uphill again and go back down and back. And I'm just going to do this. Fuck it.
I think that might be my tactic. I tell people, look, I'm actually undercover spy. You can't tell anyone, but you got to help me through a lot of the parts. It's about teamwork.
Just be proper shit.
Yeah, but honestly, she helped everyone. She wasn't like in there to disrupt anything or to put people down. She was there. She was so positive and so good with people.
Well, it's a team thing as well, isn't it? Like that was brilliant. The area where they questioned Louise a little bit, I think, wasn't it? That perhaps, but she came through in the end. Because it's you got to be part of a group, I guess.
Yeah, honestly, I was like so sad to see her. Like when she walked up on stage, I was absolutely buzzing. Like I can remember seeing her, like I was proper like side eyeing. I could see her walking around, And I was thinking, oh, what is she doing? And just go home. Like, I thought she was going to shake their hand or something. I was thinking, Petra, don't do it, honestly.
Were you shocked she was chosen? You were like, oh, it's a bit of a weird.
Because did she VW'd?
She VW'd, then James VW'd pretty much straight after her.
That's it,
But yeah, when she stood up and like stood to attention, I was just like, quality, like I was absolutely buzzing. You know, like if it had panned right and properly, I was like, yes, get in. Honestly, I was so proud of her. Like, yeah, she's such a honestly, genuinely like nice woman.
Yeah.
She's so good.
When I was watching, I can remember thinking because they spoke to Louise quite a bit, didn't they, about how she's got this ability to kind of not have the emotions about things that she don't need to and kind of just crack on. I think that's probably why she couldn't come across as a leader, because she's an orthopedic surgeon.
Yeah.
You think that's a different mentality to have? I think that's quite interesting to put someone like that in that situation. She did really well. Obviously, she passed the course, but did you see any differences in her mentality?
Yeah, she's like, you know, mega strong, like physically, but like mentally, she's solid. Like, and yeah, it was weird. It's like looking back now, I think I couldn't actually pinpoint. She didn't like separate herself from anyone, but you know, like if you look back, you knew certain people like attached herself, like I was with Milo quite a lot. Whereas Lou was just a bit of an all rounder. She like helped everyone, you know. She was like the physio in barracks. You know what I mean? She was like sorting everyone out, strapping everyone up. But she just like she just kind of took that role where she just kind of mingled between everyone. And but yeah, same again. It's weird that like everyone always asks me like 25 people like, oh, anyone who like, oh, what dickhead? And you're like, like nobody. I know everyone says it like if they didn't want, it's normally you, innit? But no, honestly, like there was such a good group of people. Like they were, and they were all, I'd say even certain people went in with intentions of like winning, and it kind of got knocked out of them within the first couple of days. They soon realised that you just need to work together, and
ego has to kind of like
it does. It has to
fall away a bit.
Yeah, you have to leave it because you just can't do it. It's like it's hard to explain, but you just need to stick together.
Yeah. Are you still in touch with everyone on it?
Like, nice. We're all still pretty close, and we keep organising different meets and stuff like that. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I've noticed you and Milo are there's something coming up, a charity event as well. And
with strong men.
Yeah, we'll put that on all the channels after the pod and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Retweet it. But yeah, he was another great story from the show. Like, just
he seemed to grow, didn't he?
Yeah, he really grew throughout the process.
Yeah. Like physically, we're always there. Like physically we're so strong, like you know, he's a triathlete, he's absolutely like nails, you know what I mean? But like as a person, he honestly, it was just unbelievable to watch him. He just grew so much, like, and it was just I don't know, he just felt so proud of him. Like,
because you get to watch back the stuff you didn't see when you were there now, like when he was
you
with
get
the
to see like other conversations and stuff like that. And he was so, when I first met him at the airport, and I generally thought he was like 17 years old. I thought he was like this little boy, and he's like 26, 27. And it's just because like, just his demeanour, just how he comes across, he's really gentle. And he kind of knows it, and he puts himself down like so quickly. And that was so good about the process. Like once he started to believe in himself a little bit, he just blossomed. And and like there were a moment like you ain't actually see it on TV when we went to the top of one of the mountains and there were a pool. We started swimming in the pool, and I was in a bad way, like a real bad way. And Milo pretty much got me dressed. And as we were running back down, me and him fell really behind, and it was just because of me. Like he was having to wait for me. Then as we started getting down the hill, I started to warm up, and we started going again. And he went to run past James and Rick. And the kind of, it's just like, you know, the competitiveness that's there. They like chirped at him a bit to like say, like, you know, where do you think you're going?
Yeah.
And he just fired back, and he just like, look, you're trying to keep up with me. And just went. And I was just like, even in state or in, I was just like, inside, I was like, yes, get in, go on, son. Like, you know, because day one, he'd have never said that. He'd have probably got scared and gone behind him.
Again.
Whereas,
that's really cool.
Yeah. Shows that, doesn't it? Like, obviously the macho stereotypes and you know, the big lads or whatever. He's a different type of person, and he is, you wouldn't expect it, but he's kind of got confidence from putting himself through that process. And that's just an example of him
Yeah, mate,
toppling him in
he's
one
heart
way,
and
innit?
lungs. He's just heart and lungs, that kid, honestly. I think he'd run till they burst. Like,
Yeah.
that's just how he is. He's got such a strong mindset.
One of
Yeah.
the strengths of the show is definitely showing how your mind's breaking point is never your breaking point. Like the amount of times people, and it comes up in some of the podcasts, and when people say, "Oh no, I can't do that," it's like when someone makes you go past it, you realize you can. And there must be, where there are a lot of times where the thought came up, they're like, "Oh, I'm done." Like you said, the first 2 days, and
definitely physically, there were so many times I thought I'd completely, like, I went into everything. I did 100% in everything. Like, I didn't hold back. I didn't have like a strategy. I didn't try and reserve any energy.
anything,
Like, and it's probably stupid looking back, but I just literally went into everything and just steamed into it.
so if it's like a boxing fight, you've gone out round 1, like it's round 12.
Yeah.
and then round 2 comes up.
Yeah,
and like
it
you've
was
got to go again.
Yeah, it was just like that. But I think that's what it kind of proved to me, is like, when the amount of times I thought, that's it, I'm completely like, I've just get everything there. Then they get you up and say, right, we're doing something else. And you'd be at the point where, like, you know, you're shaking, you're physically drained. And then you just go and do it and you just smash it again. And you just think, like, there's so much more. Like, whereas if I were at home and that were my choice, I'd have stopped there. That were enough what I'd just done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just shows you that, like, and that's the thing, is everyone looks at the show and thinks, and Foxy, Ollie and Billy are trying to make everyone quit, and they're not at all. Like, they're not trying to make anyone quit. All they're trying to do is push everyone as far as they can go. So, like, they generally don't want people to quit. They want everyone to just go to the limit and then go past that, to prove to them that you can do it.
Yeah.
A question always that comes into my mind when I watch it is, do they have the possibility that no one makes it to the end?
Yeah.
Like, I guess it could be that like no one just gets through.
They actually said to us, I can't remember, I don't know if it was one of the S's said to us, because people left so quick in interrogation.
Yeah.
That they said that the producers started panicking, because they said, like, everyone's going to quit because it's like that cold and
we need an episode 6.
Yeah, and they're like, and I think they said to Ant, will you ease off on him a bit? And he just turned around and went, no chance. He went, if everyone quits, that's it. But just nobody's been able to pass selection.
It has to be a fair reflection of what the selection is.
And you just think, like, obviously there's a certain part of it where they want a TV show, like the producers, but it's just, it's so authentic. It's unbelievable.
And on the interrogation, because that's one of the points where we put a call out to some of our club members, and it's something which comes up. There's a few questions on, and what is that period? Is that over a day?
Yeah, so it's weird. You kind of lose track of exactly where you are, because at that point we'd not slept for like 2 days. We're not like really had a meal in like 2 days. They give us like a few bits of fruit. So we'd still been doing different things. You know, like we went through the snow walls under the water under the ice. So like, you can't believe how much stuff like that is absolutely zaps your everything you've got.
Yeah.
And then they set us off on a walk about maybe 9 o'clock at night or something like that. And by the time we got captured, I think it was like 1 in the morning. Yeah, so then it was like,
That's a long old
so then it was like 20 hours of interrogation from then. And you've literally no idea about it. You know, you've no idea who's still in, who's gone, what time it is.
And when it's going to end.
That's the hardest thing, is it just feels like it's never, ever going to end. You know what I mean? And as much as we think we've got a concept of time, but once all your senses have took away from you, like, because how can we going into it thinking, you know, I've got 3 or 4 like stories in my head, like I'll just keep running through them, like, you know, and just like that's what I'll get through it. And the minute they put the earphones on and the noises, it's like literally you cannot think past the noise. So that's literally all you can do is listen to the noise. It's like I can even like just trying to think of things outside of it. Think of what I'll be doing when I get home. And
try and transport yourself away.
Yeah, you just can't do it. It's just, you know what I mean? It's just so mind numbing.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big meditator, and Steve does it as well, and it comes up in the pod quite a lot. So I would try and use other techniques. But what did you meditate? Was there anything you did to prepare for the interrogation phase, or did you just think, if I get there, I'll cross that bridge?
Yeah, I didn't really preempt it that much. Probably should have done. But
what did you do then?
I think
not having any, you just thought.
I think I would just, you're like an out of body experience to a certain degree. It's like, but it was just so painful, and that's the idea of the stress positions, that it don't let you disappear.
Yeah,
because you're in so much pain. Like these stress positions are constant. And I mean, like every 5 minutes they're putting you into a new one. And even when I went into it, I was thinking, no way, like I bet they do stress positions for like half an hour, then lay them down. And literally they'd never
the whole time you actually, because I thought that. I thought
mate.
they're just showing us what they're in there.
That's a bit I was thinking.
Yeah, that's
I'd
honestly
struggle with that. I would definitely struggle with that.
I generally thought, oh, I bet they do like these stress positions for an hour, then they'll lay them down, let them like rest, and they literally never ever leave you alone. Like, honestly,
is there any of the positions you're like, this one's all right, I hope they leave it for a bit?
They did one where they did do one where they did lay you down like flat, straight.
You're like, okay,
but it was for like literally 10 seconds, and it's just mind games. They're kind of giving you what you could have and then taking it away. Yeah, then they started doing points, like you knew when it was getting really towards the end. And like, in my mind, I always think if I'm in pain, then everyone else must be in pain.
Yeah.
Like if I'm feeling it, other people must be. And they took us out of the room and they walked us around, and I was like, this is it, it's got to be finished. And they kind of walked us around for like a couple of minutes and walked us straight back in and just started it again. And you're just thinking, and
that's
it's just clever. It's clever. It's so clever,
yeah.
like what they do to you. Because he does it, honestly, you're just there thinking, I thought that were it, I thought it were over, but.
And the bits where I remember they got Milo, and he'd kind of give him stuff and give him some emotion and kind of give him a little bit to get on. Tactically in your head, if there's any tactics when that's going on, did you think about, right, I'm gonna have to give him something here, or when the interrogator's asking for stuff, or did you think I'm gonna stick to the story and is that all you could do in that sort of situation?
It's same again. It's like you go into it with these intentions, like thinking. Like everyone knows now, like, you drip feed them information, you try to humanize yourself with interrogators. But when it's real, it's like,
out the window.
Yeah, I said to Ant after, like, he's like, how'd you feel? I'm like I've just been tortured for like 20 hours. And he's like, you have. He's like, like that is real. Like we generally went through interrogation. It's like that weren't made up. We did do it. And yeah, it's weird. You try your hardest to like stick to a plan. Yeah. But the interrogators are so clever as well. Like, what I mean? They know exactly what buttons to push. And with me, it was Milo. Like they were kind of asking me stuff, and I was just, kind of going through emotions. And then they pull Milo in, and they pretty much said, "Oh, we know we're not going to do anything to you. Like, there's no point." So they started dragging Milo off, and they buried him. They dragged him back, and you didn't see it on TV. Then they took him out and they stuck him in some there's a bowl of glacier water, and they sat him in that. So then he came back in, and it was absolutely freezing anyway. And he came back in.
They're just making you.
And I was just waiting, waiting, and they kept bringing him back, and he was like, honestly, and he's like proper in my face. He's like, that lad looks up to you. You know what I mean? And look at what you don't give a shit about him, do you? Like,
so you start questioning what is the right thing to do. Yeah.
And you're thinking, I went back. They took me back straight after. And I was in tears, like they put a bag on my head, and I just started crying. And I was like in this stress position, just crying. I was thinking,
at that point,
what is going off? Like, what do I do? And
do you think at that point, do you kind of forget it's a TV show, or do you kind of think this is too much, or do you know what I mean? Because it is for entertainment.
What are the risk assessment forms and stuff like on that? Like,
but it is like I said, that part is real. It's like as much as you think, oh, I should have said this or I should have done this, but. It's like you don't really know how you'd react unless you're in that situation.
There was one episode where one of the contestants fell and it looked like it could have been quite a bad fall, and he hit his back, but luckily he was all right, and he'd had a previous neck injury. But did he have to sign that like anything can happen on this?
Pretty much before we leave, we just signed so that, and we're kind of showing everything before we do it. So we kind of show them what to do.
Yeah, true.
But it was like, and same, it's like we knew that had happened, but we didn't actually see it because we were all stood up top. So when you got to see it on TV, it looked pretty bad. Yeah. But honestly, James is like such a trooper, man. He just never even made a fuss about it. He just cracked on, and whether it hurt him or not, which it more than likely did.
Looked like it did.
Literally as soon as he got up, he was just like, "Nah, I'm fine. Like, don't worry about it." And you think that's off to him. He could have made a big fuss about that.
Yeah. What? Because obviously, like people going off to the army and joining SAS, it's like they're joining a brotherhood, and they're going off and doing something with just those people and almost on that journey together. And I know that what you did is a very concentrated kind of format of that. But what was it like after, even after like the interrogation, like in the aftermath of that, you said you felt like you'd been tortured and stuff, but in the couple of weeks after, what did you feel like after that? Did you feel like a bit of a lull, or did you feel like you were missing people that you've been through it with? And, you know, is there any kind of feelings you had like that?
Yeah, it's really strange. So like, yeah, there were definitely a lull. Like, if it just feels so, even like it literally came instantly from the minute I got home. Like, I'm sitting on the sofa and I just thought, is this it? Is this life? Like, nobody's going to burst through the door. Nobody's going to tell me to do this. And you miss it. It's like weird. It's so strange. You know, and even now, like, I go back tomorrow and do it again. You know, it's strange. And you think, why would you put yourself through that? But yeah, there's just like the bonds are just so much deeper that you create with people. You know, you've been through such like hardship. But yeah, there were definitely a low point, and that's when you realise like you'd spent 2 weeks of just pretty much running on adrenaline. Yeah, and then you know that was just the come down from it. It's like horrendous, really. You know, and I can remember doing some like training sessions and just thinking like, you know, you felt numb to it. It's like, and you know, whereas before you'd have thought, oh, that were good, or that were, you know, I felt like I had a good workout. Whereas nothing really compared to it because they push you like past your limits, and you just think I don't think I can do that on my own.
You've got a new threshold now, haven't you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and you think, and you kind of crave something else, and that's where Kilimanjaro kind of came into it. It's like I just needed something else to escape to, and another challenge, something to look forward to, because that was just so extreme that it was hard just to like adapt straight back into normal life. Yeah.
So you took on Kilimanjaro after that. Can you tell us how that came about and what your thought processes were going into that as well?
Yeah. So it's always been something that I've wanted to do for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think just doing the show, it makes you realize like, you know, like life's too short. You just got to you've got to go and do things and not be scared of like challenging yourself. So I kind of made a plan to go and do it over a Christmas period. And in between that, we were all meeting up, kind of bit of a reunion, like SAS reunion in Bristol. And I put it to Esme and just said like, I'm thinking of climbing Kilimanjaro. And like you do when you're drunk, she was just like, can I come with? When should we go? Should we do it? Yeah. So we just, as simple as that, we just said, let's do it. We in 2 weeks we were on flight to Africa, and
wow. Yeah. How did that compare, like toughness wise? Like nowhere near, or
it was still tough. Like it was even again, it was like tougher than I expected. Mainly because of like the altitude.
Yeah.
What it does to you is just horrendous. Like, you know, it's like pretty much every part of your body is telling you that you shouldn't be there. You know, it's not natural to try and do something in it. But yeah, like the climb up before summit, it's tough, but it's achievable, and it don't really compare to SAS where you're being pushed to your limits like every single day, and trying to do it with, you know, while you're malnourished and you're sleep deprived and all the other things that add on top of it. But
is there anything in your previous life, like as a firefighter or anything, which kind of helped you prepare for some of those bits of it? Because obviously, when there's a fire, you guys have got to. You must get put in some pretty tough conditions. And
well, I'm ex-military as well. Like, so I had 5 years experience in RAF, which I'm not comparing that anywhere near being in SAS or being a Marine or a para. But, you know, I've been through similar processes, as in, you know, different fitness testing. And part of that is, I suppose, it does prepare you slightly for that side of it, but I think it just comes down to it. It's like you can't ever really prepare for them kind of things. It's all just uncomfortable. Like everything about it. I couldn't really say that you could train for it that much. Like you can go and do functional fitness, you can go and do running, you can do CrossFit, whatever you want to do.
You can't replicate that.
You can't. It's like
next level.
Yeah, it's just everything about it is designed to be uncomfortable. If someone said to you, do a burpee, like the burpee is just disgusting, isn't it? It's like, it don't matter if you're doing 1 or 20. The first one's still horrendous, and that's kind of what they do here. It's like everything is designed to be uncomfortable. Like they're pushing you to your limit no matter what you're doing. So you're constantly in that zone where it's not, you know, it's never comfortable. It's never nice. And and it's not something you just kind of, I don't know. It's more like a mental state. You've got to just welcome it and not be scared. to be in that place.
Yeah.
I guess, do you ever get that with like people, if you get to a final and someone hasn't been there before, do you ever think you can give them advice, but I guess there's nothing you can really do unless you've done that or not, like that sort of different level or...
Yeah,
obviously not saying it compares to like the SAS training, but
I think obviously you kind of do all the same training as a team, don't you? Building up to finals and stuff. And I can remember when I was 18, and I was playing standoff at Challenge Cup final, and I played like 3 or 4 games at 6 at Super League level. And I remember being down at London, and I remember getting on the bus. I was hit with like these nerves that I'd never been hit with, and like almost like dizziness, you know, before like knocking about the changing room before you go out. And I thought, this is fucking big. This is a big thing, and I think it's that sort of stuff that you can't replicate or you can't train for or practice for, which is nowhere near similar to what Mark's done. But I think it is. I think that is practicing it itself, you know, but it's doing it at the event.
Yeah, there's those scenarios, like you can't practice for either of those scenarios, but when you get there, you'll find out whether you've got it or not, innit? Like you can do all the prep you want.
Exactly, the feelings that, and like emotions that everyone feels, like even like, you know, the top athletes have them. It's like how they deal with them. That's the key. Like someone once said to me, there is a story about Anthony Joshua, when he was going for his gold medal fight, in each camp, they all had their own like therapists and psychologists, and he went up to see his psychologist, and he was saying like, "Oh, I'm like really nervous about going into this medal fight," and he's like, "Oh, why?" And he's like, "Well, if I lose this fight, I'll lose my sponsorship. I'll lose my sponsorship. I'll lose my house, and then I'll have to move back in with my mum. Then I'll quit boxing. I'll end up drinking cider on a roundabout back home." And you think, and he just like gone from being like he's fighting for a gold medal
all the way to
all the way to like he's not a boxer, you know. And we all do it like this. And you think if he does it, like, you know, he's champion at world. He should be like the most like mentally sound man, cool under pressure.
I think people think they're superhuman, don't they? But they're all human.
We're all made of the same stuff, and that's how I kind of look at everything. I don't believe that anyone's better than me at anything, because we're all. It's just what it means to them. Does it mean more to them than what it means to me?
Yeah, and it's just like everyone will feel them nerves, and there's other examples where I've felt them nerves, but I think I'm experienced at dealing with them. You know, I'm dealing with them situations. I'm more built to cope with that and not go, what is this going on? I've already done it. I've already felt it. So that's, I guess, why you have to keep pushing your thresholds. And Mark's got to go find a new. He might just have to join SAS now.
We were going to do a workout later, but I don't think it will. Like,
no,
it will
looks pretty true, doesn't
it?
Yeah. So it's good what you say. I think it's and it's a good message for people as well. Like that's a way just to keep pushing out your comfort zone and doing those sort of things to keep testing yourself.
It's a cliche, innit? But like nothing ever comes from being in your comfort zone. Like you don't learn anything about yourself.
No.
Like, you know, the only times you really know is like if you've been in a fight, then you'll know how you'll react. If you've never been in a fight, you've no idea what you'll do. And we can all sit there and say, you know, I'd do this, I'd do other, but unless you've actually been there and been to that place, you've no idea. And then that's where confidence comes from then, because like you said, you've been there, so you know how you reacted last time. It don't mean you're going to react the exact same, but you know you can get through it. You know you can do it.
Yeah. It's like a bit like David Goggins, isn't it? Have you seen much of David Goggins?
No.
Yeah. He's
ultra endurance, like madman athlete. He was like a really overweight kind of guy, and then just got into running, got into the Marine Corps. I think he was the first black man in the
Navy
Marine
SEALs.
Corps. Navy SEALs, sorry,
First, or one of only number to
very small
to be black
amount
in the Navy SEALs.
He's just...
That's what he's all about, is like making those decisions even when you really don't want to do it, when you really, really don't want to be out of your comfort zone, feeling uncomfortable. And he says the way he says he's building calluses, or, you know, in your brain, your mind,
100%.
Which is like, you know, you've gone through that bit, and it's a good reference actually, but he says whenever he's facing something tough, he goes in the cookie jar, and that's all his back catalogue of what he's been through before, what he's done through, and he's like, and then he can kind of switch his perspective on what's going on in the present moment and go, nah, I'm all right, I'll do this. And I guess you're nearly there, mate.
No, mate, there's always something bigger in, there's always something harder.
That's the thing.
But you do, like, I 100% like I already walked away from SAS and I thought, it wasn't that bad. Like, whereas when I was there, it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
But then you play it down, and then the next thing that comes is you know what I mean? Like you said, it's just preparing you for something else every single time. And but yeah, for me, it's mindset all the way. Like, you know, you can be as fit as you want to be, but you've got to be like mentally, you've got to know like how far you can push yourself. Or
yeah. I mean, you talked on the show, I think it was episode 3 or 4, about one of the main reasons which kind of which made you kind of reach out for it. Or I guess why your friend might have recommended for you to go on it. And watching it, you know, I've watched it a few times, and it's an incredibly moving bit of television. And I could tell there was a reluctance for you in the first instance to even kind of speak about it, I guess. And it wasn't until the DS kind of took you aside and spoke to you that you mentioned it. But that seemed like something we can't really put into words, like how hard it might have been. But it's like, did you use that to kind of channel sort of energy into anything, into sort of like something that...
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, when I went into it, I went in with no intentions. I didn't go in with... quite selfish, really. Like I went in, like for me, like I went in as I thought this will be a distraction. It's something else to focus on, something that she ain't involved in that I can look at, and it's, you know, it's mine, and you know, hopefully it'll just give me a moment's break from just my own mind. So I went into it like quite selfish. I didn't go into it to, you know, 12 people with their own mental health or to like promote well-being. So I didn't really have any intentions of talking to anyone about it. And every, you know, just in general conversation, things come up, like people ask about where you're from, are you married, you got kids, you know. So I didn't avoid them, but I just kind of like skirted around them. And I'm quite open and honest to people, and just said that I didn't really want to speak about it. And when you go into interrogation, it's like the interrogation with the DSs. It's like the only time where you feel so alone. Like the rest of the time, it's like weird. You're with everyone else, so you don't really think about it. And you took into this little room, and it's like an interview. You sat straight across from these two people that like emotionless, they're staring at you, and you can feel all the activity going on around you, like people filming. It's an hard place to be, but they're so good and so genuine, and they don't know anything. Like they generally don't know anything. Okay. When you tell them, it's
the first time they know as well.
But yeah, for me, it was definitely a way to channel. Like for me, like any kind of emotion is just energy, and it's up to you which way you'll push it, whether you make it positive or negative. And then you know, for me, I'd had that spell of like maybe 2 weeks where, you know, I just wanted Will to like swallow me up. I just laid in bed, cried. You know, I didn't want to eat, didn't want to sleep, I didn't want to do anything. And it's just because you're just so overwhelmed with emotions. And and it was kind of strange that one of my friends that came round, and like running for me has always been a way to escape. Like I've never, like if I've ever got a problem, I go for a run, and it might be 1% better, but it's always going to be better when I get back from running. And my mate knocked on the door, and he's like, right, get your run trainers on, we're going for a run. And even going out for a run, I was thinking, like, should I be doing this? Why if people see me? Like, will they think, oh God, he's out running, he's fine.
Yeah.
And it's horrendous things to think. And if anyone thinks that, they're not even worth worrying about.
Exactly,
but it's just human nature, we do it. And I remember going for this first run with my friend, and it just felt so good to be out, like just because I was literally climbing the walls. I'm quite an active person anyway, so like to go from that to like literally, like I just trapped myself in a room, and so then from there I kind of built on from there, and just like I started making sure that, you know, I was looking after myself more, that I was getting out running, that, you know, that I was eating properly. And it definitely just came from just channeling that energy somewhere else, rather than just, like you said, just locking yourself away and just letting it consume you. because once it does, that's it. It's like you said, it is so hard to break it. And I do it every day now. Like, I have to convince myself every day why I need to get out of bed, because I wake up every day and I lay there and I just think, like, what's the point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing it for? And you've just got to find somewhere, like, you got to find a way to change that mindset and make it positive. And for me, coming out, it was like the biggest shock for me was just like how positive it was. Just hearing another man talk about mental health and well-being and you know, like suffering bereavement, and like just off the back of that, it's just more. I just think, well, if people just see me doing whatever I'm doing and just keep like trying to get on with my life and trying to piece things back together, if that helps them in any way, then I've just got to keep doing it. And it's strange. Like I said, I went in with no intentions of that show, and my life were always on one path. Like, I kind of knew, you know, I was so happy doing it. I was married. I had, you know, the job that I'd always wanted to do. And then things in life changed, didn't they? And now I'm on this other path, and I've like no idea where it's going.
Yeah.
But I just think I've just got to kind of, you know, make the most of it, and just, if I can help people on the way, then I'll do it.
Was it tough having it like broadcast as well? Were you kind of, because obviously there's a gap between it finishing and then filming, and did part of you worry about, I'm not sure I want to get all this out there, or did you think, actually, I think this is something that needs to be out there? And
no, like I say, as much as you believe that, you know that that's half the problem, is because we're all so scared to talk about it, but still don't stop you being scared to talk about it. Like, and like, there's always someone out there that's, you know, I think the hardest thing is just education in mental health. For me, like, we need to put more money into educating people rather than helping people that suffer with mental health. So you always know there's going to be some kind of repercussion from it, people that don't understand it fully. So yeah, from my personal side of it, was more protecting her than anything. Like, that was my biggest fear, is that people look at it a different way. You know, like, they look at her illness a different way, as though she didn't actually enjoy life, or, you know, she didn't have a good life, and she did. She absolutely loved life, and like, it just proves that it's such an horrendous illness, because she searched every day in her mind to understand why she felt the way she felt. Whereas I can sit here and say, I have these days where I don't want to get out of bed, and it's because of what I've been through, because of the trauma, because of all the chemicals that are in my body. Whereas, like, for someone who's suffering a mental illness to have these chemicals and not understand why, or, you know, or when they're going to leave them, or how to cope with them, it's like, for me now, I sit here and I just think it must be horrendous to have that happening to you.
Is that why you're a believer in the education side of things, to almost, you know, kind of put that spin on it, where people know more about it, know how to deal with it, can process it more, and kind of look for ways to combat it, or to live with it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's more like people just understanding it. It's like, that's just the first step to it all. Definitely. Like, you know, like, the reaction that people give from like mental illness is totally different to someone who would be suffering cancer. It's like, you wouldn't tell someone who's suffering cancer to get up and, you know, come on, stop being stupid now, stop being, you know, you would not come out with any of these phrases. It's like, you just try and look after them the best you can and do everything you could for them.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, nobody looks, like, to me, mental illness is just a cancer of the brain. It's like, you know, it is a genuine illness, and it's not like, it could be brought on by different events that's happening in people's lives, but equally it could be brought on just through an imbalance in their brain.
There's a myriad of different causes, and it's one of the things we talked about quite a few times, and one of the main things which we want to get across with the podcast as well, and is getting, we both had our dark times and reactively learnt things that have helped us through them, but we're keen on, especially in schools, we want to try and launch some education stuff about giving people these tools before they go through stuff, and trying to get people into good, healthy habits, and to understand that if these things come on, and what to do. And like you said, we need to, as a society, to put far more funding and stuff on that side of things. Because I think compared to physical health, it's something like less than 10% is spent on mental health.
Yeah.
And for men under 50, it's the biggest cause of death is a mental health condition. So
it needs looking at.
It should be something which, and it is shifting, I think, a bit.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. But
we're still not there yet because the stats are still so damning.
Just because we don't understand it. So, you know what I mean? It's like, for as much as we understand like physical conditions and we've got all these tools and rehab and all these different things to repair muscles and different things that we damage, when it comes to brain, we're so far behind still. It's like we haven't advanced at all. Like, it's like we still don't understand it, do we, at all? But yeah, for me, it's like I say, everyone, it's like, same again, it's a cliche and it's like stamp out the stigma behind it all. But that only comes, like, we can all say it. We can sit here every day and say, like, you know, we need to understand mental illness more, we need to accept it more in society. But unless you're educated on it, then you can say it as much as you want, but you won't actually believe it because you've no understanding of it.
We're seeing people like you do the SAS course and still be so open. I remember with one of my plays, it's about male suicide, and we taught it to a school. And then after the play, we have like a workshop, and I said to the kids, you know, why do we think Jim ended up the way he did and got so down? And someone's like, oh, it's because he's weak. And I said, okay. Let's think of who knows who Tyson Fury is? And they all put their hands up and goes, well, he's heavyweight world champion. Do we think he's weak? And you can have your issues with Tyson Fury over other things, but he's very honest about mental health, and he can't be weak if he's the heavyweight world champion. So I was like, well, do you think it's weak? And they're like, oh, well, maybe not. And I think it is kind of seeing more and more cases of people just being honest and open is hopefully going to create some sort of shift. And
I think it is. I think it's definitely creating a shift. And I thought, you know, Chris mentioned the moment where you spoke to the DS. You know, I thought that were really moving. I thought it was really strong representation of someone speaking about it and then attempting to look at it, to understand it and get over it. And I'm just wondering if that moment was that a big shift for you, or did you feel better for doing it after, or is it something that you'd kind of already dealt with before and spoke about before? Or
no, to be honest with you, it's like, I've not spoke about it that much, and even with close friends, it's weird because like even they find it hard to speak about as much as they want to help you. It's like they generally don't want to talk about it because they don't understand it themselves. So it probably like, you know, one of the first times, especially like someone who I didn't actually know as well, like I'd opened up like that. But it's a strange one, as in, I wouldn't like say that I sat there and I felt like relieved that, you know, that I'd spoke to him about it instantly. I've said before, like it's weird. It's like the words that feel like they just get stuck in my throat. You know, like they're there, and I kind of want to I have to force them out to actually talk about it. You know, it's so sensitive and so like personal. But I'd say it was more like coming back from the show, and when everything kind of calmed down a bit, that then I kind of got, you know, a bit of satisfaction that I'd actually opened up and spoke about it. And prove that you can look at it still in a positive way and not look at it all negative. You know what I mean? There's days I sit here and you want to scream and you want to think, why have you done this to me? Like, what have I done wrong? And you want to think all them things, and that's the stigma again, innit? It's there, like, and like you want to think that there were a reason why, you know, that they chose him, but it was completely out of her control. Like, that's one thing I do know. Yeah. And that'd be like, that was the only message I wanted to get across while I was there, was that you know, that I know 100% it wasn't her, it wasn't her choice. And that's what's like, you know, it's sickening when you think of all these people that are struggling, and exactly what you said is like, I sit here now and I think some of the strongest people I know just get out of bed every day. Like, you know what I mean? They're not people that are climbing Everest, that are doing these ridiculous challenges. Like, some of the strongest people that I know are just doing the simple things every single day that we all take for granted. Just turning up for work, just, you know. Yeah. Like, you know, these people are so strong.
Yeah. Where do you see that path going now? You said you don't really know the direction it's going, but you've obviously joined on with this strongman charity, and you kind of you found this new path. What things do you want to get involved in, or what things do you see what might be coming up in the near future for you?
Well, we've already agreed to climb Mont Blanc. So me, Milo's older brother and Corbin, and Ollie, the DS. Nice. Yeah, we're all climbing Mont Blanc, and that's all in aid of strongman.
Right.
So that's just, it's solely, everything we raise is going solely to the charity. So it's all like, this charity is quite new.
Yeah.
So it's still in, it's still in the process of being like kind of created. So yeah, for me, that's like a focus, is just to get this, because I know personally, like if something like this were around, a year ago for me, that I'd have been 100% looking into it and looking at what it offered. So like, and I spoke to Milo, and Milo was exactly the same. He said, it's 10 years ago now that he sadly lost his brother, and he said he always, he said he wished that there'd have been something like this that were aimed at men. So as professional as in therapy, in psych, going and sitting with a doctor. The aim rate is all about getting people together, getting people outdoors, getting just like-minded people speaking, and same learning their coping mechanisms, and learning how they deal with things or how they don't deal with things.
Yeah.
So for me, that charity is, it's hopefully going to be something that I can get stuck in with and help with that. But I don't know. It's all up in air at the minute, and I like the idea of like speaking to groups of men and trying to break that other barrier of like alpha males. I went in recently. I spoke with Rotherham United Football Club,
right?
And it's same. It's like I've been around these kind of environments my whole life now. Like through military, through fire service, they're all like heavily male dominated, all quite alpha males. It's one of them environments where it's like a lot of banter. But these are the people that suffer in silence because they're so scared of what other people, like, will someone take mick out of them? What will lads think if I come out and say that I'm not feeling too good today? And and it's just speaking to people like that, and especially like, you'll know exactly yourself, like people that play sport at an high level, there's so much pressure put on them, and so many anxieties about what happens after the career. If they get a bad injury, what's going to happen? And these are all the things that you kind of, everyone else sits back and just thinks, well, the pros is like, they paid a lot of money, they'll deal with it. Yeah. And truth is, in a lot of sporting teams, it's a short career.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of anxieties around what will go on after their career, what will they do? And it's exactly what I've just said. Is like, you can think you're on one path, and you might think you were always meant to be a pro footballer. Yeah. And you've put so much of your life into trying to make that happen that you just kind of want to say that this isn't it. Like, this might be a stepping stone to get to wherever you need to be. Like, it's like, don't put everything onto this if it doesn't happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not.
Is that one of the messages you were taking to Rotherham, or?
Yeah, that, and just kind of a lot of it were around like mindset, and like I said, the situation that Rotherham in at a minute is like they're in a relegation battle, and it's just that kind of getting into your head that like they played Man City over a week, and they're lining up against players that are they're all multi-millionaires, and like don't get me wrong, these lads are doing well for themselves, but they're nowhere near that level, and you just think it must be so tough to stand toe to toe with someone like that and not compare yourself. And
Definitely.
I think it's just that other thing that I've tried to get across to him is that when we went into SAS, there were people from every single walk of life, and with all these like amazing things that they'd done or they'd achieved, and when you strip down everything, you're just exactly the same. It's just, what does it mean to you? Like, what are you willing to push? Like, how much are you willing to push yourself to get to what you want?
Yeah.
It don't matter where you've come from, what job you've got, what money you've got, what clothes you wear. And it was just trying to get that mindset across to him that, just to believe in yourself. And as long as you're willing to push yourself and just keep going longer than what they are, you'll get it.
Yeah. That, without a doubt, that's something that's obviously been prevalent in my career, mate. We've had big games, and for most of them, I think we've been the underdogs. But I think there's that sort of buy-in that you get. And I guess it doesn't really matter what you buy in, but as long as everyone's bought into it and believes in it, and they've got that something which kind of helps push them further, longer, harder than the opposition. That's like in the big games, especially. That's what matters, and it's that resolve. And
everyone always says it. Like people say to me, like, "Oh, there's no way I could get in that cold water. There's no way I could have run up that mountain. There's no way." And you just think you could. Like anyone could do it. Like what we did on that program wasn't exceptionally white. You know what I mean? It's just what does it mean to you? It's like it obviously just took less persuasion for me to get in that cold water, but if I held a gun to your head and said get in that cold water, you would get in it.
Yeah,
so
it's easy,
So you're telling yourself you can't get it. Yeah, it's like what? It's because you've got that choice. That choice is taken away from you, and then you do it. And that was like, a massive lesson that I learned is that it's just like we can actually do more than we actually believe. It's just people saying I couldn't do that straight away. And like, well, you could. It's just what does it mean to you? Like, you know what I mean? If you're just straight away saying I couldn't do it, but then, like I said, if I came in and held a gun to your head, and then you'd soon jump in water and get back out.
The Wim Hof technique would help on that.
Wim Hof
technique. I'm sure I saw someone on one of the cutaways doing Wim Hof.
Michael,
was it?
Michael.
It was like a 1 second clip. I was like, I'm sure he said that's Wim Hof. Like,
you were mega into it. Like,
Did he go well with it after that, or acid test?
He didn't actually get.
I don't think
he was the one that. Yeah, it was a bit of a shock when they got rid of him.
Yeah,
because he wore. He kind of. I wouldn't say like one of the strongest, but he wasn't one of the weakest by any means. And it was just a bit of a shock when they kind of got rid of Michael, because he was just. Yeah, you didn't really learn much about him, but he's a real like incredible man. Like what he's actually done is unbelievable. Like he actually it came from like a really abusive upbringing, and he ended up with a lot of addictions, so like drugs, alcohol, and he was like, I think he was the youngest like juvenile to get caught with a weapon. So like at like 16-year-old, he got caught with a gun, and he got sent like in and out of prison, and he just had like one of them moments, I think at like 27, where he just thought, I've got to change my life. Then he pretty much turned his life around. Like now he's got this business that's worth like a lot of money. He's pretty much semi-retired, and he spends all his life now just travels around prisons and just talking to young offenders. And
we should get him on the podcast.
Yeah, mate, he's unbelievable. He's so good, like such a genuinely nice man as well. And it was just a shame that people didn't get to hear more about him, because he's incredible.
Yeah.
Thinking of a friend of mine, we're two friends. One very recently has lost someone much too young in a sad way, and they've reached out to me recently asking for advice. And it's one of those things. It's very hard to know the right words. But are there any tools or tips which have helped you over the past year, which you would advise to other people maybe struggling with something similar, or bereavement, or? Yeah,
well, I think obvious ones are stay away from like it'd be so easy to overindulge in things. Like you can see the temptation to drink more, to look at like other substances to like ease things, but it's not the answer. You know what I mean? It's like you're just numbing a pain that's there. It's like the things that I think you've just got to feel certain pains and be okay with that. Yeah, and deal with them, and you know what I mean. It'd be so like the first things I got offered like were antidepressants and all these other drugs, and as tempting as it was, I just turned them down, because I just thought, I've actually got to feel this. Like if I take something that's going to take it away a little bit, how long does it take it away for? 6 months, 12 months, but then eventually it'll come back and it might be worse. Or but for me, like personally, I can only speak like personally what I learned to cope with things, or I try to cope with things, is like I said, like trying to channel that energy into things that you love. So for me, it's running, being outdoors, being active, setting challenges, setting goals. Like so for me, it was like trying to focus more on stuff like that. Like do the things that you love, push that energy into them things.
Did you go down the therapy route or talking route at all, or was kind of like the show kind of therapy in some ways? And
yeah, I tried a little bit before I went, but like I said, I'm not against it at all. Like if it works for you, it works for you, but it just didn't work for me. Like I didn't feel any comfort from someone telling me what they'd learned in a book or how to deal with grief.
Yeah.
It's like, you can talk about it all day long, but unless you've actually been through it and dealing with it, I don't think you have any idea. It's like, it's so overwhelming. And like, for someone to sit there and draw circles and say that this is grief, this is you, and you just, like for me, it just didn't work. But yeah, definitely like the show, like without even knowing, helped me so much. Like it just proved to me that I can still do things, I can still achieve things, I can still, like have goals, I can still like carry on my life.
Did you find that you had to kind of get yourself, I mean, you mentioned it, a lot of the time it's a struggle to get up and go and do stuff, but did you feel a lot better once you kind of got into that groove? Once you kind of made those tough steps to make it to 11 a.m. when you're in the mode of doing something? It might be running, it might be something with a charity. Did you feel a lot better when you're in the midst of that? And
100%. Like I said, that's why it was kind of strange, like the process applying for SAS. It's like I said, I had no intentions of actually going on the show, but what it did for me, like, give me a reason to get out of bed every day. So every day I had a reason to get up because I had to go and train, I had to go and run, I had to go make sure I were eating, and it was just like having that goal, even though part of my brain was still saying, I'm not actually going to do it. You know what I mean? I've got no intentions of doing it, but just the process was just helping me so much. And that's kind of why I kept going with it, because I kind of did the first fitness testing. I thought, well, that's it. I'm happy. I've done that. Then it was like the next one. So then I kind of went with that one, and it just kind of just kept rolling like that. But looking back now, 100%, it's having that goal and setting them and then being achievable as well. It gave me the motivation to keep pushing through. And then once you get there, you realize that you can still do things. Like you can still get up. You can still achieve different things in life. They might be totally different. They might not be the way that you planned them to be, but that's the thing with life.
Yeah, that's it. I know Tyson Fury talks a lot about that on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's had his
goals, isn't he?
Joe Rogan were bringing out massively on it about the goals and achieving them, and I guess that can still be scary in your mind, the idea of achieving a goal and stuff. But I think once you're doing it, once you're in that process of it, it makes it easier. Quite daunting, I imagine, from in the mindset of going to do them and thinking, I've got to do this to get there, and it's quite daunting. But I think once you kind of make that first step, you're in it, then you're in the swing of things, and that's a massive thing that Joe Rogan were bringing out with Tyson Fury on that podcast. And you've given a lot of advice already, and it's been amazing. I think you will help a massive amount of people from this. What's an advice or a set of advice you'd give to an 18-year-old self? Is there anything that you'd want to know when you're 18? And
there's loads of things I could tell myself, honestly.
Just list them.
It's I don't know. It's like I read one over there that were quite good, because I think one of the biggest worries we've all got is like acceptance in it of people, especially like when you're young. It's like you're constantly wanting people to like you, and you want to fit in. And I read one that said like that when they used to walk into a room, they're worried about everyone liking them. Now they walk into a room and worry about who they actually like in that room.
Yeah.
And I think it'd just be something along them lines, maybe something quite simple where you just like say, don't worry about everyone else. You know what I mean? And don't put yourself down so much. Like, don't have so much self-doubt. But yeah, there could be a million things. But I think some things you've got to go through as well in life. Like, you know what I mean? I think some things, that's the only way you learn. If you knew everything, then
it's pretty boring, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you know everything, then
But yeah, I think some things you've just got to experience, and you've got to do some things wrong, haven't you? You've got to learn from your mistakes.
There was a question also kind of similar, but from Steve Hardesty in the club asked about what resilience kind of means to you.
Like I'd look at it like two ways, like, obviously mental resilience and physical resilience. Like for me, it's like the ability to like bounce back in it, like the ability to to be at your limit and then to come back again, or to have something put on you and how you will deal with them things. I think same again, like mindset is just massive. Like even when it comes to physical, like I said, that SAS proved it to me. The amount of times, like physically, I was absolutely done, but mentally, I had another 30% in me because my mindset was still strong. It was still telling me that I could do things, you know, and not to give up. Like, for me, like, resilience is just how much you actually want something, like, and how far you're prepared to push yourself to get it.
Someone else asked in who's the best staff member. So I don't know if you can answer that, but
they've all got their own characters,
and
they're all like genuinely, like honestly genuine blokes. Like, I mean, they're not like, not that the and out of them all, Ant is the one who was meant to be on TV, but you know what I mean, they're not guys that went into a career thinking they were going to be on TV, so they are like just genuine.
That's a good example. Isn't it?
They're so genuine, but it's hard because, you know, whilst you're in there, they're so professional. Like, you know what I mean, you get nothing from them. You get no emotions. Like, they're just solid.
Yeah.
But you know, just kind of what you get off of people, just like their aura, what you know, the vibe that they give off. Like for me, Ant were the one that were, I just think we like just shared like similar characteristics and stuff, and just the way that he was, you know what I mean? He openly says that, you know, he struggled, like physically he was never the fittest, strongest. He had to like mentally push himself to get it, and he's worked hard, and I think, but like I said, they're all so genuine. They're all so good.
Didn't he say? I've seen a quote. I remember. Didn't he say you were the better looking version of you, a more sculpted looking version? He's hammered you there. You have to get him back. Have you caught with any of them after it and seen many of them all?
I've kind of kept in touch with them all. Ollie's really good. Ollie's really like into, you know, keeping in touch with all the recruits, and he's got quite a few other things that go off, so he tries to get everyone involved in it, and he's a top bloke. I met Foxy the other week in London. Foxy's like, Foxy's just Foxy. He's just sound. Like, I used to look at him sometimes, and it was like as if, I don't know, like he had no idea I'd ended up where he was. You know, like not that he like didn't deserve to be there, but just more as in he just was used to look and just think, he's just going on. Yeah, he's just like going with flow, as if he just like went to use toilet and ended up on a TV show or something like that. You know, but they're all quality, mate, to be fair. Such top blokes, and you know, you could definitely go for like a beer with him and stuff like that. And
probably that's the safest beer you could ever go on, isn't it? If anything ever kicked off, literally. Like,
but he's saying with them, they're just blokes. It's like, people say to me, like when I went to meet Fox, like, take him at gym and beast him. I'm like, do you think he gets fed up for that? He's just normal. He's not.
He probably does get tired. He probably thinks he's
not an Olympic athlete.
They haven't got an ego either, these guys. They probably don't really care about proving anything.
But that's the thing, and everyone probably wants, and like, you know, like most of them are over 40 now. And, you know, you'd think that's off to them. They're still smashing it. And
do they do? You know, when they do the hill runs, do they actually do quite a lot of that stuff with you?
Yeah. The only difference is like we've got the weight. But they're always there. Like, you know what I mean? And there's always someone who you've got to try and keep up with. Like, this kind of set the pace. But they do everything, and you think, like, for them, you think, where does their motivation come from?
Because, they can't VW one.
And they've been there and done it. They've got nothing to prove to anyone, have they? But they're still there and they're still doing it. And you think that's off to them.
Class.
Definitely, man. And thinking ahead, like, what's next for you then? You've got the strongmen thing. What have you got? Any other things you're planning?
I'm on nights tonight. I'm going to work.
Okay, wow.
He's doing a full shift then, isn't he?
Yeah, appreciate your fitness in.
No, it's like, it's just, I think for me, I'm trying not to force anything. Like, I'm trying to not put too much on it, like, in case, you know, you just don't want to be let down by anything. So I'm just kind of seeing what evolves naturally. And just sitting back and just enjoying it. And it's all been positive, to be fair. Like, for me, it's been so positive, and just doing stuff like this, it's just, it's different, and it's taking me out of my comfort zone. but like we said before, like that's where you grow and that's where you learn.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I'm just kind of seeing what evolves, and like I say, I want to try and get involved with strongman and keep involved with that. But yeah, for me at the minute, it's just like I said, I love my job. I feel quite lucky that I enjoy going to work. You know what I mean? It's something I've like worked towards for a long time. But yeah, I just see what happens.
So where can people find you? You're on Instagram, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. Yeah.
Not on Twitter, I don't think. I had a look.
Not on Twitter.
To be honest,
It's dying,
it's weird. It's like
It's not dying.
It's dying Twitter, mate.
It's not dying.
it's I wasn't on any social media like up until like after the show, and I kind of got advised to go on Instagram. But like, so it went a bit bonkers for me. It went from having no social media to like, you know, a ridiculous amount of followers, and then just trying to get into that habit of like, you know, it's like a diary for your life, isn't it? That's how I kind of look at it. And it's same with that. You've got to be so careful. It's, you know what I mean? Because without even knowing, you're like influencing people, and and I just want to be really careful about what I do. And the only things that I want to kind of put out are like genuine things. The amount of people that come to you and like, oh, like we have my supplements, or we have this and we have other, and you think,
not that arsed.
Yeah, or you just think, well, give me 6 months for having your supplements, I'll tell you if they're good or not. Like, I can't have them
endorse
one
it straight away.
I can't have like one shake and then hold it up and go, oh, you know, it's the best thing I've ever had.
Yeah,
and
well, you have brought one of them along, though.
I saw that. I noticed that on your Instagram. I think I looked at, I can't remember which post it was. It might have been talking about Kilimanjaro. It might have been talking about something that you'd done with the contestants. I think you might have been presenting something, but you'd mentioned saying, you know, I thought that I had to maybe go and put on a different face for the situation you're on, but very, 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 you were very genuine. You know, I think you said you might have to put a mask on and kind of a different persona, but you're very genuine about what you put on Instagram, and that's the thing with Instagram. People can scroll on it, people can search for different people, and every version, barring yours, it looks like now, mate, puts the best version of themselves on.
Yeah, that's exactly what it like. It's such a good tool. Like I'm all for social media. Like, you know, it's so powerful. It's so good to get messages out. It's so good to, you know, for people like live their life for other people. Like they just do. It's just natural. It's what we do. It's like, I'll look at someone who's climbing Everest and I'll watch it every day. I'm like, oh God, that's amazing. And I'll feel a bit of satisfaction when someone does something good, and you think, and that's like, because I'm enjoying some of what they do. Yeah. But on the other hand, it's so dangerous at the same time. And all social media does is tell you everything that you ain't got. Like every day we're told everything we look at is something that we haven't got. Like, you know, and so that's why it's so dangerous, is people sit there every day and look, and they're looking at what they should have, or what they should achieve, or what they haven't got. Whereas, you know what I mean, sometimes you just got to sit back and look at what you have got and appreciate that, because nobody's there telling you to do that, are they? Most people are there telling you like they're either endorsing something or they're selling something, and we aren't even knowing we're being sold a million things. You know what I mean?
Very true.
And that's, the same. I just want to kind of, I don't think I could be any other way than just trying to be real. And
that's it. That's it.
And I think it's coming back around. I think we've gone past that like Kim Kardashian era now, where it's like everything's fake, and I think it's coming back around. I think people actually want real people back, and
don't go on Stevie's Instagram then. It's all
don't look at mine. Airbrushed. Might put it on private actually.
I'm only messing.
Yeah. So we'll put your Instagram handle out and everything.
And the strongmen, and I think Milo on Twitter as well. The charity and the Instagram, and because it was set up by a guy from the previous season, wasn't it?
Dan Cross. Dan Cross and Ephraim actually set it up. Ephraim, the guy who lost his son in Afghanistan.
Okay.
Yeah, and like, you know, being lucky enough to meet them, and they're unbelievable people. Like they're so good, and Ollie kind of backs it as well. So yeah, hopefully it's going to be something that kind of takes off. It's got, like, I think all the ingredients to be massive. It just, like I said, these things just take time, don't they? To set up.
Yeah, we'll definitely help support it, and yeah, man, yourself as well. I think you're a massive inspiration to a lot of people. I remember me and my girlfriend watching that. We're just welling up hearing your story and seeing you, and you come across as such a humble, honest, good man. And I think what that show does and what you do is kind of smashing some of those alpha male stereotypes and And like you said, being real and not kind of having an ego.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's some great messages, and
Yeah.
you're a credit. It's great to have you on.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on, mate. You've it's been awesome to have you on, and backing on what Chris has said, you know, you will inspire a lot of people, and if you continue in this vein where you're real, authentic, I think you'll carry on smashing those stereotypes and furthering the message. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, mate. Thank
Cheers,
you.
mate.
Cheers, man.
Legend.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Boom.